What's up, sports fans? Welcome to the Bobcast. This is Frostburg's very own sports show where we keep you up to date on the latest local and national headlines. I'm your host, Shafiq Hinton, and I'll be taking you through Season 4. Buckle your seatbelts and tighten your chin straps. This will be a season you won't forget. So let's get started. Today's episode, we have our panelists, Blake Grutzian and Aaron Ware. We're discussing our national sports for this section of the show. So here we go. First on deck, Danica Patrick, Miss GoDaddy. This past week, she made history, being the first woman to win the pole and lead a lap. How important is this to female athletes?
I don't think you can't say anything bad about it. It's great for female athletes. It's a step in the right direction for them, especially for NASCAR. You know, there's definitely going to be a lot more females that are going to want to step up and now try to drive. You know, Danica might need to hold a couple more laps if we're going to continue this conversation down the road, but I think it's a good step forward.
What do you think, Anthony?
I agree. She's got to at least win a race. I mean, she's been in NASCAR for a while now. Hasn't really done a lot. I mean, it's great that she's now in the sport. She's led a lap now, so that's history. I mean, you got other historic moments in women's sports history. You know, Lisa Leslie dunking in the game.
Yeah.
Candace Parker dunking in the college game. It's a great thing to see, but now, especially for her, we want to see her win a race. I know NASCAR fans who support her want to see her win a race.
Yeah.
So why do you guys think that she's so relevant in sports? I understand that she's the first woman to do such a thing, but when I think of Danica Patrick, I think of GoDaddy.
Yeah.
Is that why she's so relevant?
I think a big thing that she had was advertisement. That really helped her get in front of everyone. You know, that kind of gave her her chance to shine, and people were like, "Yo, who's that girl in the video? And who's that?" It's Danica Patrick, and now she's in front, and now her name is out there, not just in advertisement, but now she's doing something in sports. People know who she is on both sides of things now.
True. You agree?
Oh, I definitely agree. Coming from that background of doing that commercial, got her some momentum to come onto NASCAR. Now she has to look to maintain it.
Yeah.
So maintain it, like I said, got to win a race. Got to. That's what you do in NASCAR. You got to win in order to have your name stay up there. If she really wants to go down in history, that's her next step.
We can only talk about her being the leader in one lap so long before it's like, okay, it's great. You were first in the lap again, just one time. You got to do something now.
Understandable. Well, as GoDaddy says, what's next? Danica, you need to win a race. So moving on, another woman making national headlines is Ronda Rousey. She just successfully defended her championship in the first ever women's championship fight. What does this mean for women fighting, and is this the rightful champion?
Oh, I think she's the rightful champion, and I think that this is a great thing for a good way to spread the horizon for MMA fighting. I think it's good to now have women involved because you know that there's always been women that want to fight. There's always women that want to be on the wrestling teams in high school and in college, and now they're getting a chance and they're in the limelight, and I think that this is also another great thing for female sports, and I think everything for females right now in sports is in the right direction, definitely.
Mr. Ware, I know you got something to say.
Oh, yeah.
Lay it down.
She is, from what I've seen, just amazing fighter. This is great to see UFC going to a direction when they have a women's division now, have a women's champion. For so long, women's sports, especially in that background, fighting, MMA, what you really had was professional wrestling. So
Yeah.
WWE, TNA. What they do is amazing also, to have that kind of combat going on, to see her do this now. I think it'll only get better. More women now have to push to get into the UFC, so get themselves better to get them to get up to that level.
I think another great thing that Dana White is doing is he's able to mix the men and the women of the UFC together. I know I follow Ultimate Fighter, and the Chael Sonnen had her come on the show to help train. Everyone works together. There's no split between women and men. They're together in the UFC. And I think Dana White does a good job of that to make the women feel like they're also a part of the UFC. They're not like there's UFC and then there's the women's UFC. I think he does a good job to make everyone feel like they're all a part of the same organization.
A good thing. I love seeing women get respect they deserve in sports because it doesn't always come. You know, WNBA just gets trashed. Just remember a couple years ago they wanted to go on labor strike. Some people were saying, "Go ahead, we'd enjoy it." It's sad to see. So it's just really good to see women progressing in sports now, getting involved in more stuff.
And that's another great thing that Dana White is doing with the UFC is he's able to make men's UFC and the women's UFC feel like they're both welcome. Chael Sonnen had Ronda on to help train with his fighters in the show Ultimate Fighters. So they're all one big group, and no one feels like they're separate. Like you're saying with the WNBA, there's just the UFC. There's not the men. There's UFC and then there's women's. There's a unity to the whole organization. I think that's good.
Definitely, and Dana's opened up something now for women who maybe don't want to go to the route of professional wrestling. While it's exciting to do, it's a lot better to get in there with the, I don't want to say real combat, but let's call it what it is. I mean, to be able to fight in the UFC opens up a whole new route. So if you're not a model, you don't want to necessarily, be a diva, be a knockout in TNA. You have something to go for now.
Some women like to punch other women, and now they have somewhere to go. And I think it's good. There's going to be, I think we might even see a large fan base start to grow in this. So I think it's definitely good.
Think so?
Oh yeah.
Well, I just want to say that I'm really proud of these women that are breaking barriers and setting an example for women at home to really follow their dreams, especially in the light of Title IX anniversary. But like I said, we do love our women, but we must move on.
Yes, we do.
You guys familiar with catfish? You like it? Tastes good? Fish fry?
I had a couple in my day.
Well, when I think of catfish, I think of my man Manti Te'o. This past weekend at the Combine, Manti Te'o, he failed to impress. What does this say about his personal issues and maybe even his draft stock?
I think it just helps to prove that his personal issues are definitely in the way, and that he's not mentally prepared, and he's not focused on what the true goal is right now. And I think that he's more concerned with getting sympathy for his situation instead of trying to overcome it and become an NFL linebacker. I think that's his biggest problem.
Very true. What do you think, Aaron?
I'm going to take a line from Judge Joe Brown right here. Man up. It's time, man. You had your situation. It went somewhere for a couple of weeks. Probably shouldn't have gone that much. Now it's time to focus, man. You're trying to get drafted to the NFL. This is not Notre Dame anymore, man. This is the pros. You can't do that in front of the entire country who's watching you on TV right now. You got to get your mind in the game. That's what it's about, running a 4.8 40. I know that coaches are supposed to focus on game tape. They're supposed to focus on how you play on the field, not a bunch of speed things. But guess what? They pay attention to it. So, like I said, you got to man up, got to move on.
It's not only that, but it's that the combine, they look at that and they see, okay, you're fast or you can jump. But they don't always look at it because they want to see what you can do on the field. But for Manti Te'o, it was more of him proving that his situation is not affecting him and that he still is the same player he was. I feel like this combine was bigger for him than maybe anyone else that has any other big names in this combine. This combine was very important for him in where he may go in the future, and he didn't meet any of his expectations, any of them. And I think that at best now with the draft coming up, I think I wouldn't waste a first round on him. I think he's a great late round pick because we don't know what may happen. He may come out as a great player and play the way that we know he can, and that may happen, but not worth wasting your first round.
I agree.
I just want to apologize to the great Ray Lewis, because Skip Bayless disrespected my man Ray Lewis when he said that Manti Te'o was the next Ray Lewis.
Yeah.
He is of no sort and no way, no how, the next Ray Lewis. For the second time, Manti, he did not show up on the national stage. When they played Alabama, granted, I know the whole team played terrible. But when you're playing in the SEC, those are the linemen that goes to the NFL. Those linemen got on him and took him out of the game, drove him back in the back of the end zone.
Yeah.
He did not make one play. You're a linebacker. That's what you do. You supposed to be instinctive, and Manti didn't do that. He shrunk. We get to the combine. He ran a 4.84. Who are you going to stop in the NFL running a 4.84? Nobody. He shrunk again. So, like you said, he got to get his mind together mentally, and because right now he's not looking like a first-round draft pick.
That's a good point, but we're talking about, we keep bringing up speed, and we also keep bringing up Ray Lewis. Ray Lewis this past season was definitely not the fastest linebacker on the field, but he left each playoff game with the most tackles. So we're focusing, I think, too much on the speed and not so much on his ability to make plays happen. Ray Lewis was not fast, but Ray Lewis knew how to be there to make plays happen. So I'm not going to count Manti Te'o out yet and say that he ran a 4.84. He's not going to make any plays in the NFL. I think he still can, but every day I lose. I have less hope in him making that.
And let's remember, when we're making comparisons, I know it happens across the board in sports.
Yep.
It's natural for what we do to try to compare people. Let's just remember, all intents and purposes, there is one Ray Lewis. There will probably never be another linebacker like him in the game. So, I mean, we have to watch that also.
Yep.
But I'm not going to write him off yet either. I think he can make the improvements. He can get over it. Maybe it's having a veteran there by his side on the team to try to get his mind right. Maybe it's having someone to talk to. I'm not sure, but I'm not going to write him off yet.
He just needs to stop taking the sympathy road, because he's not the first player to go through this situation. Well, he's the first one to have a fake girlfriend, but he's not the first player to have something to affect him and take his mind off of the game. He needs to just step up and make this happen, because there are plenty of other players that have done it. He's a tough linebacker. Stop crying about your problem and hoping that Oprah Winfrey can help you. Right now, you need to become an NFL linebacker. That is what I'm waiting for.
Oh, yeah. Let me take you back more than a couple years ago. Brett Favre, his father dies. Monday night, goes out, plays against the Oakland Raiders. Monday Night Football, 4 touchdown passes. That's what I'm talking about. If he can move over that, I know everybody's different, but you got to get over it. You have to take that situation, move it away. Your focus is on the field. Your focus is on the court. Your focus is on running that 40. Your mind has to be there, not over here, not over here. It's there. Teams look for focus.
I don't even know if it's that he's not over it. He's just a liar. He's a flat-out liar. He knew that maybe he got hooked at first, but 3 years having Bible study conversation over the phone, you got to be kidding me.
But I don't think he made her up for publicity. I think he actually believed that she was real. I don't think the same way when I think about relationships, but I think that he actually did believe that, and that this actually, in a way, truly did affect him, because he was with her for 3 years. So he was affected by it, but he needs to still move on. She wasn't even, now that he knows she wasn't real, I would be able to move on a lot quicker. You know, it wasn't a real death. Should be a little bit easier. It's my opinion.
Well, Manti, I hope you get it together. Because I like you guys said, speed isn't important, but you got to remember, the game has changed.
Oh, yeah.
You got
Very
Colin
true.
Kaepernick,
Very
RG3,
Very true.
Russell Wilson, and they all run the spread offense.
They do.
And that's what offense is based on, speed
It
and
is.
misdirection. So if Manti can't run a 40 in 4.5, he's not worth a first-round pick.
No.
But that's enough Manti talk for me, because he gets me fired up and riled up.
Oh, yeah, we know now.
So on the other hand, Tyrann Mathieu, he did turn some heads at the combine. He did do that.
Did.
Unlike Teo, his personal issues are more detrimental. You know, he got locked up, some other things like that. But does his performance at the combine help his draft stock?
Yes, I think that this combine, just like Manti, was also an important combine for him. And I think, unlike Manti Te'o, he actually showed up. And he made everyone say, all right, he's got problems. But you know what? He can still perform on the field, you know? Randy Moss had problems. You know, Terrell Owens had problems. But if they can perform on the field, a coach will find a way to. His problems aren't even as serious as some players that coaches have put up with in the past. And I think that he's young. He still has time to mature. I think that he's in a good situation because of how he performed.
What do you think, Aaron?
I'm taking you back to last year. Similar kind of situation with Janoris Jenkins of Florida. Gets kicked out of the university, off the team, has to go to another school, comes to the combine, shows up, does a good job, ends up getting drafted in the NFL now, doing well.
Yeah.
Tyrann Mathieu can do the same thing. I know people want to count him out for his size, that he's probably not going to be a great corner. But you know what? Crazier things have happened. Size in the NFL, though it might be a big thing, I mean, you have running backs that are 5'8". Prototypically, you want you 5'10", 5'11", 6 foot. So you never know what could happen. I think this is good for him. If he can get over the character issues, get over doing stuff that's detrimental to himself, I think he'll be fine.
The Honey Badger, to me, he's honest, though.
Yeah.
You know, because if you watch his interview at the Combine, he said, when the team drafts me, I'm sure that they will come up with a plan to make sure that I don't get in trouble. So he's telling you right now, if you tell me what to do, I'll do it. But if you let me be me, I'm going to mess up. And he got to be a man at one point. But at least he's honest and letting the team know what they're getting themselves into. And I respect him for that.
He is, but I think that by doing that, he might be hurting himself a little bit because he's acting as if, like, I'm that good that teams will make a program for me so I can fit in because they need me. And I just don't like the way he comes across sometimes with that. I feel like he needs to show some maturity because when he talks like that, I feel like he's not going to mature and he's just going to be continual problems. And that's not what a team wants.
Yeah, nobody wants to deal with another Pat Jones situation where you're dealing with disciplinary issues, getting arrested, jail time almost every year. Nobody wants to deal with that. So, I mean, yeah, at a certain point, he is going to have to grow up. Like, you're a man now. Drop the other stuff. Focus on football. You'll be all right.
No, he is a Honey Badger for the reason. He makes plays, but he's a bonehead. But hey, guys, you know, that was a great debate, and I'm excited to keep this thing going. But now it's time for Alyssa and 60 Seconds with the Cats.
The women's lacrosse team lost Tuesday night 15-7 in the season opener against Catholic. Mallory Brunette was the lead scorer in the loss with 5 goals. The Bobcats' next game will be on the road Saturday when they take on Bridgewater at 3 p.m. Good luck and congratulations to junior Morgan Carroll and sophomore Alexis Bush for making the Eastern College Athletic Conference Championship for the track and field team. Both girls will compete in a field event, Carroll in the high jump and Bush in the long jump. The event will take place this Saturday at 1 p.m. in New York City at the New Balance Armory. Congratulations to senior Christian Jackson for being named to the first team All-CAC. Jackson had a stellar year, leading the CAC in scoring and is currently second in the nation among all NCAA Division III players. During the overtime loss to Mary Washington, Jackson scored 22 points and captured FSU's single-season scoring title, finishing the season with 670 points. That's all I have. Back after this PSA.
The pain will not control us. It will never break us, define us, or keep us still. Because arthritis can't beat us if we beat it first. In the fight against arthritis, you need a weapon. What's yours? Visit the Arthritis Foundation at fightarthritispain.org.
When you throw away money on wasted electricity, you're throwing away everything you could have bought with it. Saving energy saves you money. Learn more at energysavers.gov.
So, what's it gonna be? We could ride bikes, skating, movies, zoo, whatever you guys want to do.
Can we just do this?
Yeah. We could just do this.
The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today.
2 outs with a runner on first base. Now the big guy comes up to bat, hitting .342 with 92 RBIs and 36 homers. Number 50,000 is back in the
Chill raw and prepared foods promptly. 1 in 6 Americans will get sick from food poisoning this year. Keep your family safer. Check your steps at foodsafety.gov.
How do you, the coaches, motivate the boys before a game?
Well, what we do is what's called, pregame scout. Before the pregame scout, our guys will go out. They'll shoot a few jump shots. Do some stretching. And that period, it's kind of their own time. They get this. They're getting their mental focus together. They're getting used to the structure of the game. Getting into a mental mindset of what they need to do for the game. Okay, when they come into the locker room, that's pretty much our time. We give them what's called a pregame scout. We give them matchups. We put the starters on the board, also their bench players, and we'll go through every single guy that may play, and we'll give their strengths, we'll give their weaknesses, we'll give their yearly stats. It's a lot of information that we've been giving them throughout the week leading up into that day. But this is just reassuring them and reinforcing what we want, and knowing player personnel and knowing what these guys are going to do. So that's how we get them mentally focused. Towards the end, at the end of the pregame scout, the head coach he'll give some kind of pregame talk, and that will be it. Guys should be ready to go at that point.
What players will you be missing next season?
Wow, we have 2 really good senior players that's going to be graduating, actually. Christian Jackson was second in the country in scoring this year. He averaged right around 25 and a half, maybe 26 points a game this year. He was named first team all conference this year, and I think he came in second for player of the year in the CAC conference. We'll really miss his scoring, his athletic ability. He has outstanding talents. He can put the ball on the floor. He can get to the basket. He can post up and score effectively inside. He can make free throws. We'll really miss his playmaking ability as well as his leadership. Christian is a 27-year-old man who decided to come back to school and finish up, and he finished strong. He'll be graduating with a Rex and Parks degree.
And as an overall performance of the boys, how would you think, or what do you think could have gone better as the overall season?
Overall season, I'm not certain if I'm not. Overall season, it could have went better if again, injuries. The injury bug bit us earlier. We had our top, who we thought was our top freshman recruit coming in, broke his wrist a few days before the season began. He would have been a 6'6" wing post player, presence inside. So that hurt us. We missed him all year. We lost our 6'8" post player. He was injured most of the year. And, just lack of size, depth and size. You know, that really hurt us. You never want to make an excuse as an athlete or as coaches, but, you know, the lack of depth really hurt us.
Welcome back, sports fans. At this moment, I want to welcome a very, very special guest to the studio. Mr. Christian Jackson, our very own standout ball. This guy is the CAC Player of the Year, 2-time, I don't know, second in the nation scoring.
Second in the nation
Second
scoring.
in the nation. Welcome to the show, man.
Welcome, sir.
Welcome.
How you doing, man?
So we're going to dive right back in this time. Since we got a ball player here, we're going to talk some NBA. Josh Smith, he was supposed to get shipped out, man. But he's still a Hawk. But he's not expected to stay long. What does this inevitable departure mean from the Hawks and this year's free agency class?
One word, rebuilding. I don't know what you're thinking. He's not going to stay in Atlanta. Why not make a move, get him out, you get pieces back? Because as it stands now, you're going to lose him because you know and I know you're not going to give him max money. He's going to go somewhere and get top-of-the-line contract, whether that's Dallas, whether that's LA. If they decide to get Howard the heck out of there, we don't know. But Atlanta, you had to make the move. You didn't. So let's say next year you're going to be rebuilding. Sorry.
So as a player, what do you think about this?
Well, Josh Smith is whoever gets Josh Smith, or if he ends up leaving Atlanta, whoever gets Josh Smith, they're getting a dynamic player, one of the most dynamic players in the NBA. I mean, he's 6'10", he can shoot, he can rebound, he can put the ball on the floor. He's a matchup nightmare for a lot of guys at his position in the NBA. So, you know, I would love to see them do something with Chris Bosh and maybe one of those guards, a Norris Cole or somebody like that on the Heat, where they could get a Josh Smith. I don't have anything against Chris Bosh. I'm a fan of Chris Bosh. He's a jump shooter. I'm a fan of jump shooting big man. But I believe that the Heat, their deficiency is rebounding right now. And to bring in a Josh Smith, you know, to fill that rebounding void, along with you have Udonis Haslem. He holds his own. You know, you have a couple other young guys, you know, that can collectively, they can make an impact rebounding. I think a deal like that, I'm sure the Hawks could benefit from getting a Chris Bosh and a guard because, you know, losing, they traded away, who was it? Well, they still have Teague, but they lost, I think they lost another one of their guards to bring along another guard like Norris Cole, who has championship experience and playoff experience, along with the Chris Bosh, who also has championship and playoff experience, and to ship Josh Smith to the Miami Heat, that works for both teams, I believe.
Yeah, I feel like Atlanta is almost just sitting back and just hoping that he's just going to stay loyal, or he's not going to want to go on and make a better move. I feel like they're not fearing him leaving for some reason, and I don't understand why they wouldn't jump on it right away. I feel like they're not, if he's going to leave, why not take a great opportunity to get a great trade out of it? And they don't seem to have urgency to him, and I don't understand why they wouldn't want to make that move. And I think Chris Bosh is a great opportunity that they could get a great player out of it, because you already have a player that wants to go. Yeah. So why not get someone that can play ball and be helpful to your team?
Yeah.
I think we're all on the same page with them making a deal with Miami. I think it does work for both teams, because I think, in a way, Chris Bosh kind of feels disrespected in Miami, just slightly. You know, he's a 2.5 man, things of that nature. He was great in Toronto, but he kind of lost a little bit of his edge. And if he wants to be a Hall of Fame player, he has to get out of Miami.
He does.
And like you said, rebounding, they need that, and Josh Smith will provide that.
I think that, yeah, I think Chris Bosh needs to get out of there, because when they brought all three of them in, they brought in they had three great players from three different teams. And they wanted to bring 3 stars and have them all play together but still be their standout stars. And you can't do that on the court. You can't have that many stars and have them all play their game, because in the end you have to play as a team. And I think that just LeBron and Dwayne Wade just outpowered him when it came to stardom. And I think that he definitely needs to get out of Miami if he wants to continue his career with a good ending.
Well, hopefully, good luck to Josh Smith and the Hawks. You know, they got a lot to learn, and they will learn a lot this year in free agency. But one of the biggest deals this year, well, at the deadline, was, of course, we know J.J. Redick. He did move on to the Bucks. How does this affect their playoff chances, and does it make up for the failure to get Josh Smith?
It's a tough thing. I mean, on one hand, you bring in a guard that can shoot the 3 ball. That's averaging career highs in scoring this year. That's doing a really good job. On the downside, you have to now take time away from one of your guards, and that's Brandon Jennings or Monte Ellis.
Yeah.
Taking time away from them, kind of tough. That's your scoring. Redick is scoring this year, and not at the rate that Jennings or Ellis can. So splitting time could help, could not. I think we'll have to see. It's only been a couple of games for him, so we would just have to see how this goes. But I like the deal. I mean, you get a 3-point shooter that can either come off the bench, maybe start, maybe not good defensively enough to start, but we'll just have to see how the season goes.
With Monte Ellis and Brandon Jennings on one team, I don't see how J.J. Redick can come in and really provide, what the Milwaukee Bucks are looking for or lacking. J.J. Redick is a wonderful spot-up shooter. He was perhaps one of the greatest shooters to ever play college basketball. ACC all-time leading scorer and things like that. He had a storied college career, but we all know the NBA is a different level, and you're asking a lot for J.J. Redick to come in and to fill a starting role. I think on any team in the NBA right now, just when you're put into a starting position, a starting role, you not also have to lead on the floor or lead by your play. You also have to be a leader of men. You also have to be a leader inside the locker room. And I'm not sure if J.J. Redick is a leader of men. I don't know him personally or anything like that, but just far as just seeing him, how they was handling business in Orlando. I don't know if he's going to transition well in Milwaukee, but I wish him the best of luck.
Yeah, I think this is the same situation, maybe not on the same level or on the same scale as what happened in Miami, but you have now 3 players again that you're going to now put on the same team and hope that they all can produce and play their game. And they have to play as a team, and you're not going to get the same productivity out of all 3 players when you have them all on the same team. And I think that is exactly what is going to happen. And I think that the Bucks might find themselves in a situation where now they got to get rid of someone again because they're going to put up with it and see if they can make it work. But maybe in the end they can get a good trade out of it. I don't know, but I don't think that this might have been the smartest move for them.
I'm going to say one thing. To compare J.J. Redick to Josh Smith is as a 9, as a 10, as 11, as a 12. When you talk about J.J. Redick, Monte Ellis, and what's the other guy's name? Brandon B.J. Jennings. They all do the same thing. They shoot the basketball. Who's going to get the rebounds? Who's going to post up? You're in the same position you were before.
Yep.
All I got to do is stand on the perimeter, play a 3-2, and I'm gonna beat you every time. You're not going to the playoffs. Hang it up. I'm sorry.
No, that's dumb.
Now let's move on. Let's get local. Our hometown team, the Washington Wizards, they continue to be dysfunctional. Even when they're winning, they traded away Jordan Crawford, their 6th man, their best player, for the equivalent of a can of soda and some pencils. How long will Ernie keep his job down there in D.C., man?
To Ted Leonsis, I would like to personally address this message. Fire Ernie Grunfeld, please, for the love of God, for the love of all Wizards fans who've been loyal to you, even though you changed your name from an awesome name to the Wizards. Please, I'm begging you, fire him Please, I can't deal with it anymore. I don't understand what you're doing, your thought process to give away a guy who can score when we desperately need it. I don't know what you're doing. I don't know why you're bringing Jason Collins. Doesn't make sense to me at all. But Ted, get rid of him. That's all I have to say.
The biggest problem that the one thing that really bothers me about this is earlier in the season, we heard the rumor of the Wizards having the opportunity to have James Harden. And they said, nah, we're not going to take that deal. And instead, you wait. When you hear that, I wait and I think, okay, maybe something's going right in the front office and they have a bigger deal that's coming up. They're planning something better. And then to see that this is what we've been waiting for, is this trade, because this is what they thought was a better plan for the future of this team, I lose all respect for whatever may be going up in that head office. I don't know if they just sit up there and do crosswords and they flip coins on should we trade him today? Looks like he's got to go. I don't know where their head's at right now. It's embarrassing, really. It's embarrassing.
Anytime you have an opportunity to get James Harden, you got to take him. I mean, as you can see right now, first-time All-Star, putting up 40, 30 any given night, winning games. What they're doing down there in Houston is remarkable. I'm happy for James Harden, that he was able to get the deal and to get the contract that he wanted, because he deserved it. He's a proven player in the NBA. I don't see nothing but great things down the road for James Harden and the Houston Rockets, but it's a shame on the Washington Wizards. Ben from Washington is a downfall. It's one of our downfall when it comes to sports. It's just when it comes to making big decisions, we drop the ball. Whether it's football with the Redskins, which finally got things turned around, or it's basketball, or if it's baseball with the Nationals, benching our pitcher. I can't think of his name right now.
Strasburg.
Yeah, Strasburg. We see when you have an opportunity to play for the championship and things like that, to win the World Series. Yeah. It's management. It's bad management, and it's across the board in Washington D.C. sports. So that has to change, and once that changes, I feel like then things will be better.
Yeah, I think you bring up a great point about it's not just in basketball. I feel like the head offices in every Washington sport just doesn't seem to know what they're doing. This is our nation's capital, and they don't know what they're doing right now. Maybe they're busy making other decisions for the country, and that's all right. But when it comes to sports right now, your job is to represent the nation's capital, and you guys, not one. Redskins are finally turning around, and it's been a long time. And I really thought that the Wizards were on the way. They were on their path. They picked up Nene, and I thought, hey, maybe we're going to do something here. And they've just dropped the ball again. I don't know if they're afraid of big decisions, James Harden, I don't know if we can handle having him here, I don't know if they're afraid of that. But if they want to become a dangerous franchise, they need to make a big move. And it needs to be bigger than what they needed to do before.
And you're talking about an area that loves basketball.
Yeah.
Georgetown, Maryland, the Wizards, George Mason, you name it, we love basketball here. And all we want to do is see our team succeed. And hopefully they turn it around. I hope they do. I'm a Wizards fan. I'm just asking, please, just make some better moves. Just please.
And I think that's the biggest issue, because I think we know. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to know that this was a bad decision.
Oh.
Bad management, like you said earlier.
Yeah.
All across DC sports. But, what signal does this send to the fans? Because, a couple weeks ago, the Knicks were in town. My boy Melo sent me 2 tickets to go down to the game. I went down to the game, and Melo's on the line at the end of the game to try to take the lead, and the whole crowd is chanting MVP for Melo, right? Jordan Crawford gets on the line, and they're booing him. He has a chance to ice the game, and they did win, and they're booing him, the whole crowd. I'll tell you, about 75% of the Verizon Center were Knicks fans. And I know the Knicks are a big team and special, but I mean, I can't imagine what that stadium would look like if they were playing a team like the Milwaukee Bucks. Like, what does the DC Sports need to do, what's the Wizards in particular, to get that pride back like in the days of Gilbert Arenas?
One word. It's easy. A big player. Players attract fans. If we had James Harden, people would want to come watch him play. Why do you think people go to Lakers games? Maybe not only do they win, but who doesn't want to go see Kobe Bryant play? You know, and now you can go see Kobe Bryant. You can go see Steve Nash. And you have these opportunities to see these great players. We can go see John Wall. He's still a prospect. He's not that player yet. So we're not bringing in anyone. We don't have a big player that people want to watch. And that is our biggest problem right now, is that we don't have a big player that people want to come see. And I think that's what they need.
I'm going to take you back 2001, 2002. Who came to the Wizards, brought in 20,000 plus fans, field capacity? MJ, Michael Jordan. His point exactly. Big names got to come in here. I thought we were going to do something for Josh Smith. Once I heard they wanted Wall and Beal, okay, maybe I can agree with you on that one. I'm not too thrilled about mortgaging our future just to have one guy, but big names got to come in here.
Yeah.
Come back, Mike. Come back.
You know,
how about the Wizards?
Even Gilbert Arenas brought in a decent amount of people, you know, and it's just maybe the Wizards just need a little bit more time for John Wall to become a big-time player or Nene to become a big-time player, but I just feel like that's too far away. I think that they need someone to take the reins of that team and show them how they need to win and how to be a winning team, and that's, I think, their biggest problem.
Well, I hope DC gets it together because, you know, I'm a Ravens fan, I'm a Baltimore fan, but look out for DC. But hey, we got to take a quick break. We have Maggie in the field to talk about the women's basketball pink game. Take it away, Maggie.
Hi, my name is Magdala Lusant, and I had the opportunity to come to the women's basketball game today. I also got a chance to speak to Coach Peppel. Let's take a look. How long has the pink game been going on here at Frostburg State University?
About 7 years. The Women's Basketball Coaches Association went together and we've donated a week where every team does something pink. Some have pink uniforms, pink warm-up shirts, the laces, the shoes, you know, whatever you want to do.
For a pink game, how do you motivate your players to do well?
I think the fighting for cancer is motivation enough because they all have dealt with somebody in their life that has had cancer or a friend that has had cancer.
Do you often remind them of Kay Yow and her legacy?
Yes. You'd be surprised that some up until Kay Yow started this, or they started the foundation for Kay Yow. A lot of them didn't even know who she was because they were probably in like middle school when she passed away.
The official charity, Kay Yow Cancer Fund, began when North Carolina State University's late coach, Kay Yow, passed away of breast cancer. Yow was diagnosed in 1987, recurred of cancer in 2006, and passed away on January 24, 2009. Play for Kay is an initiative that allows the coaches across the nation to raise awareness and funds for cancer research on the court, across campuses, and in communities. Compared to the other games, would you say that the pink game has more significance to the players?
Yes, I would totally agree. And actually then we tied in with our senior night, so it's kind of double the reason to get pumped up.
How do you mentally prepare yourself for a game?
I use the kids. Actually, they motivate me. I have self-motivation as a coach. And then again, you add on top the pink game. It speaks for itself.
Frostburg's women's basketball team has an overall conference record of 2-9. We, the Bobcast crew here, are wishing the ladies the best of luck as they move on to the playoffs. I'm Magdala Lusant, signing off.
A boy born in Joplin, Missouri was fascinated by anything with wheels and a motor. The odds of him going on to fascinate millions with his talent? 1 in 260,000. The odds of this born racer having 157 career top 10 finishes in NASCAR? 1 in 125 billion. The odds of him winning both the Daytona 500 and the Brickyard 400 in the same year? 1 in 195 million. The odds of a child being diagnosed with autism? 1 in 110. I'm NASCAR driver Jamie McMurray, and my niece has autism.
Learn more at autismspeaks.org/signs.
All right, fellas, welcome back to the show. Let's get back into it. Now, remember, this is your last chance to water the audience, so let's make it happen. So let's dive back into the NBA because we got our expert here, Mr. All-American. What's up with Derek Fisher? He's back in the NBA and he's back with the Thunder. What's your opinion on the signing?
I like Derek Fisher.
Yeah.
I like veterans. I like the guys that come every day and they what to expect. They raise the level of competition in practice and they call guys out, and you got to have those veterans on your team. This year I was a veteran on my team. For the first time I actually been put in a situation where I had to lead. Like I've always been privileged to play with great players. Like whether I was at Manhattan or at Bowie State, I was able to play with guys that led on and off the court. And it was easier for me, So this year, me being put in a situation where I had to lead on and off the court, it puts you in a situation. It's like it helps all the younger guys. It helps the team continuity. It's great. I love to see Derek Fisher back out there, and he plays hard, and he's a winner. He's a champion. He's a proven champion.
Exactly.
So, Derek Fisher with the Thunder, that's a great thing.
I think my biggest point with having him is exactly what you're saying. He's a veteran on the court just in the NBA, and not only that, but he has 5 titles. He knows how to play in the series. He knows what it feels like when the pressure's on, and he can make plays happen, and he knows how to keep everyone's composure, and I think it'll be great for them to have going into this.
Man, I love it as a locker room move, as a veteran leadership move. I think it's really good to have veteran leaders on a young team. Player personnel move. Let's check out the point guards that play in the West. Tony Parker, Nash. Even let's go to the East. You got to deal with Wall. How is he going to check these guys? I would love to know. If you know, tell me. I would love to know how he's going to check these guys. I know offensively, he still has a game. He can still make clutch shots, shoot the three, do what he needs to do. On the defensive end, I don't want to see my man get crossed up. I worry about his ankles, man. I worry.
That's a staple. That's what he do. That's why he's conditioned. That's why he conditioned his body the way he does. That's what he brings to the team. He's a defender. He's going to have problem far as speed and lateral movement, but far as the toughness, far as the understanding of angles, He understands 15, I don't know how long Derek Fisher been in the league, but he understands 15 years of angles or X amount of years of angles and just understanding defensive concepts in the NBA. That's what's going to work to his advantage. I definitely agree with you when it comes to will he be able to guard guys one-on-one and play man-to-man defense. He would struggle, especially in the open court, like you said, especially in the East when you have guys like John Wall who live and they thrive off of pushing the ball ahead. And even in the West when you have Tony Parker and Russell Westbrook, guys like that, he's going to struggle. But you also have Kendrick Perkins. You also have Serge Ibaka that's behind him. You have guys like, what's his all-purpose, the guy he went to camp, Nick Collison. You have guys like that who's going to support him. Collectively, they will be able to support and help Derek Fisher. So I still think he has some use, and I still think that a team like Oklahoma could benefit from not only his leadership, but on the court defensively, he can help their team.
And I also think that I hope that the Thunder got him strictly as a locker player. You can put him on the court and he can play, but don't be having him play 75% of that game.
Right.
Have him go in when he's fresh, have him play, get everyone's spirits up, keep everyone's composure, but then when the game starts coming down to it, he doesn't need to be on the court, but he needs to be on the sideline. He needs to be in the huddle, keeping everyone's morale up and keeping everyone focused on what they're there for, which is to win. And I think that is what the Thunder were actually going for.
So what's the real problem? Do you think that is Russell Westbrook, dare I say? It's either because Mo Cheeks was a good player. Is it Russell? Why do they need leadership? They got great guards. It got to be Russell.
They're young. I don't like to sit here and talk about, guys are young because you still can be mature for your age and you don't always have to revert back to, players being young, like a person being young is going to cause a problem. I don't think there's anything wrong with Russell Westbrook. He's emotional, we all know that, but I think that's what helps him, that's what carries over into his game. I think if you take that emotion away from Russell Westbrook, then you take away a little bit of his game. That's who he is, that's his personality. Same thing with Allen Iverson. Some of the things you just couldn't take away from Allen Iverson because if you was taking him away, you was taking away parts of his game. I think that's the same thing that goes for Russell Westbrook.
Yeah, I also think that he with Derek Fisher, there's a difference between a leader who is good at leading because he leads by example, but he's never won a big game and he's never done it over and over again. And then there's a difference between that and a player that has done it and he's done it repetitively. They're two different types of leaders, and I think that you need both. You have players that are going to lead by example because that's just how they are. And then you have players that have been there and they know how to help those other players get through it. And I think that's going to be the advantage of having Derek Fisher. It's a completely different type of leader.
Yeah, you're not going to expect him to get out on the floor, score 25 points a game. That was never his game. It's not going to be his game now. But for someone to come in, maybe score, 6 points, dish out a couple of assists, make a couple of threes down the stretch, I think you got your guy now. Yeah. But even not worried about him on the defensive end. Again, I worry about his ankles. And then I still like the move. I still like to see the guy back, trying to win another championship. Yep. I know Kobe doesn't like it, but Kobe's going to have to get over it.
Yeah.
Well, hey, best of luck to OKC and Derek Fisher. And Derek, make sure you tighten them shoelaces up real tight, boy. But hey, man, everybody, y'all guys remember All-Star Weekend?
Yeah.
All that Kobe, LeBron. Well, if you remember, Michael Jordan actually picked LeBron over Kobe. If you had to start a franchise, who would you guys pick? Take it away, Ant.
Give me Kobe. I love killer instinct, and LeBron is making strides towards that, but I don't think he'll ever have it like Kobe. Kobe, his mind is set on winning. You're not getting in his way, whether you're on the other team or you're on his own team. You're not getting in the way of that goal. If he really wants to win, guess what? He's going to do it. He can still score over the age of 30. That's supposed to be where you start slipping off. I haven't seen Kobe slip off yet. The man is still knocking down 40, 50 points a game whenever he feels like it. Still the leader of that team, has been there, hasn't moved. Give me Kobe.
28 years old, 60% field goal percentage for the month of February, 27 points a game, 8 rebounds, 6 assists, 3 steals, 2 blocks. I'm taking LeBron James.
This is the question that I feel like all NBA fans have always questioned and been waiting for. And I like the leadership that Kobe has because Kobe has experience. But sometimes Kobe's style of leadership can almost be controversial at times, where he puts his own players down because they aren't playing at his level. And I feel like sometimes it can work, his negative energy can push a team to want to play with him and play up to his level. But Kobe's a player that wants the ball and he does it all. LeBron, on the other hand, is a player, he just said the stats, that can involve everyone. And he gets involved offensively, defensively. He dishes the ball. He makes shots. He's a player that is going to make other people around him better because he involves everyone. Kobe is someone that's going to cause controversy because you aren't playing to his level or playing the way he wants you to play. Yes, he's a winner, but he's also had great players in his past. LeBron's still he's not at the age yet of Kobe, and he's got one, and he's still got time to go. He can match Kobe when it comes to titles. So you can't go in a title battle yet. And I think that I think the only thing that LeBron needs right now is some major leadership. That might be the main thing that he needs, is to really show that he's going to push this team and keep winning titles. Once he shows that, hands down LeBron.
Oh, hey, LeBron's a monster, but give me Kobe because when the game's online, I know who's going to take the shot. But hey, man, that's all we have for today. I hope you enjoyed the show, and I hope you tune in next time for the latest on local and national sports. Go to our Facebook page below and vote for who you think won today's battle. For the Bobcast, I'm your host, Shafiq Hinton. And remember, guys, achievement. Good, better, best. Never let it rest till your good is your better and your better is your best.